Alright, so this is a project I've been working on for quite some time, and this is one of its kind actually, because this is as simple as it can get. And I did search a lot on the internet to make a simple soldering station, but I couldn't find one that is as simple as mine. So the reason for making mine is because of the cheap Chinese soldering stations. They're so bad and they just make cold joints unless you dial up the temperature knob up to 400 degrees Celsius, and then you also reduce the tip life. Now you could get these tips for really cheap, and I actually made my own handle. Here you can see that it's able to solder really easily without having cold joints. The temperature set here was about 260 degrees, and if I was actually doing this job on my previous Chinese soldering station, I would have to dial up the temperature up to about 450 degrees. Now this ticking voice that you're really hearing is actually the relay that is switching between the powering of the tip and reading the temperature from the tip. Now changing the tips is also really easy. You just have to take it out, replace it with another one that suits your job. And here you can see the handle is actually made from a metal pipe, and it was a little bit difficult to achieve that in my first try, but I eventually figured it out. Put this in. Here you can see the tip heating time is about 5 to 7 seconds, and usually it's even shorter, but the code needs to be optimized a little bit. So let's have a basic outlook at what's really going on inside. So here we have the 24 volts coming in from the power supply, and then we have a step down converter stepping down to 24 volts to 9 volts for Arduino. Then we have a 12-volt regulator as well to drive the relay. And then we also have a MAX 675 module that is used to detect the temperature of the thermocouple from the iron tip. Now usually people use an op amp to do that, but I preferred a much simpler way. I've also used a 16:2 LCD and a potentiometer to control the temperature. So the temperature basically just displays temperature, and the set temperature from that is basically controlled from the potentiometer. And then we have basically a 12-volt DC jack. It's not the best connector out there, but it does the job. And there you go. So right now it's on standby. When I remove this, however, you can see it goes back on, and when I put it back up here, it goes on standby. Alright, so now this standby feature is shown in a little bit more detail. So basically, the wire coming out from the back is basically connected to ground, and the tip is also connected to ground. So when the circuit completes, Arduino detects it and it puts it on standby. So there's no button up front as well, because there's already a standby feature, so I don't really have to turn it off from the front. So when I have to permanently turn it off, I just use the back switch. So what the relay is actually doing is it's just providing an isolation between the K-type thermocouple sensor and the 24-volt mains to power the iron tip. Now this is not the best way to do that, because switching can be really slow with relays, and they are often unreliable in such high switching applications. Now in terms of the cost considered, it is actually more efficient than most of the Chinese stations out there. It has standby feature, its heat up time is really quick, and it also offers great reliability. So I would rather make my version the winner.